well. Hey, Christine's in the house.
Hi.
Kristen. Hi.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi.
Hi. What do you got for me?
Oh, God. Okay, so I'm in Australia. I was dating an Aussie guy for a while. I met him through friends, and it's long distance.
Yeah.
Couple hours. I didn't meet him online. So what happened was we're kind of politically not aligned.
Okay.
And, I just thought at first, no, it's okay because it's interesting. We can talk about stuff, and I'm used to always being so agreeable with everyone. So this was kind of different to have somebody with, I thought it'll be interesting. So then it just kind of became more, I feel like in the end, I'm like, this guy is a misogynist. It's just his like masculinity was threatened, and he had all these ideas about just this traditional. It's just not. Yeah, I guess my question for you is, at what point do men maybe push women away because they're angry with women? I think that's kind of.
Okay. So why are you asking that question?
Because, well, we broke up because I don't want to be.
Can I invite you to rethink that question? Because when you said, why do men do this? It's like, no, why did he do this? Like, let's be real. Don't make this about all men, because what you described isn't the kind of man I am. So you lumped. So we have to be careful with our languaging, because the minute you make it about all men, then you are literally setting yourself up for failure for every single circumstance that happens forward.
I agree with you 100%. I'm not angry with men.
Okay, but I want you to know that your language literally demonstrates that when you say, why do men do this? Why you should say, hey, Jonathan, why did this happen? And by the way, happen for me, not to me. So why did this happen for me? So let's get a little backstory. How long ago did the two of you meet?
Oh God, originally like 10 years ago, but we only just started dating about a year ago.
Okay, and how long did the two of you date for?
Almost 8-9 months.
8-9 months. And how far apart did the two of you live?
2 hours.
Okay, 2 hours. And in those 8 or 9 months, how often did you see each other?
We tried every week. Sometimes we go every other week.
Okay, every other week. So you saw each other at least 24 times. You were physically together 24 times. Was it you driving to him or him driving to you?
We switch back and forth.
Okay, so you took turns. Okay. By the way, the only reason why I ask that is women have a propensity to do it. Men are lazy. And so I'm grateful to hear that he drove to you. And okay, and then who ended the relationship?
Both of us in a way.
Okay.
I'm still confused who ended it myself.
Okay. And wait, at the time we're recording this, how long ago did it end?
2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, so 2 or 3 weeks ago. And and you're confused who ended it. Like, okay, unpack that for me, because what really happened? It sounds like you guys may not be over yet.
No. So he sent me all.
You guys had sex, by the way, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
Okay. It's great. It's always great. So not always, but okay. So you guys, well, let's come back to the ending, because that's confusing to me.
For sure. So everything was fine this particular evening, and he started sending me some videos that I guess he likes, these sort of, like just political videos, or it came across to me as very misogynist.
You said you're in Australia, right?
I'm in Sydney, yeah.
Okay, okay. What do you guys have political problems like we have here in the United States?
Jonathan, his son walks around in the MAGA hat. Okay. I don't understand it. I'm like, why? You're Australian. You've never been to the United States. Why are you wearing a MAGA hat?
Okay. Wait, is your issue with American politics or Australian politics?
Our issue is more American politics. I don't know why he cares. I'm like, I care because I still have all my family there and I'm American, you know, okay, but like.
That makes more sense. I mean, I can understand why that's more of a conversation. Okay, so you guys are on two different ends of the political spectrum, number one. But you said something earlier that he's misogynistic. I mean, is it he's more traditional in the way he operates in relationship? I mean, was he disrespectful to you? I mean, well, I'm not putting traditional and disrespectful in the same category, but I mean, how was he misogynistic towards you?
So, you know, telling me that the woman's supposed to submit and he doesn't want to be in a relationship where he's butting heads, which is fine. I understand, like, I don't want to be butting heads with a man. Okay. And I feel like it didn't apply to us because I don't feel like I was doing that in the relationship. He just has this like insecurity around women, like his daughter won't talk to him anymore, all his women in his family, like he's just and this video he sent me, so this was the breakup.
Yeah, let's get to the breakup.
Yeah, so he sent me this video and it was just like screaming misogyny to me. It was just like this, how men used to be this and women used to be that, and then men were knocked off the throne, and then and I'm just like, what is this shit? Okay. And why are you sending it to me? You know, and so I got really upset and I said to him, don't send me this stuff. You sound misogynistic. You know, it's borderline, some of the videos are borderline fashion, like really weird, off the chart political stuff, in my opinion. And so yeah, it just blew up, and then we didn't, and sadly I was in such a good mood, like I was feeling really good about us at the time. Okay. And then it just came out of nowhere, and then we didn't speak for the week, and then I was supposed to go up there and he messaged, are you coming up this weekend? And I said, let's talk. And I said, look, if these are the things that you're thinking in your head, like if you agree with this kind of stuff, like it just doesn't work for me. And so he said, well, should we just call it then? And I said, yeah, I guess so. And so that was it. And we were supposed to take a trip just this last weekend. I was supposed to spend the whole weekend. We had flights booked and we were going away, and I didn't go. He went.
Flights?
So we each paid. He's reimbursed me some of the money.
Okay.
Not all of it.
Okay. So
it was like a work thing for him.
Got it. So why did you, I mean, are you happy the relationship is over? I mean, where's your emotion?
No, no, I'm not happy. You know, I'm upset that these stupid issues destroyed what we had. It's like, why?
Well, so it's, when you said stupid issues, these are his beliefs.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me that the two of you, well, recognize that each human being is entitled to their beliefs and their values. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like he has his beliefs and values, and you have your beliefs and values, and there was a misalignment between the two of you. Now, you characterize them, I don't think you said stupid. Did you? What was the word you used a moment ago?
I just think that, like,
because when you said these issues, this is really his ideology. This is his philosophy. This is his belief system. So you have to recognize that he's entitled to his belief system. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just he's entitled to it. to trivialize it and to say for this, and I would bet anything, Kristen, there were signs of this early on in the beginning of the relationship. I suspect there was other misalignment between the two of you beyond this aspect of your relationship. I mean, this doesn't sound like a person who would be my friend. So were the two of you actually even good friends with each other?
Yeah.
I'm curious. Okay.
Yes. We had so much fun. It's just
well, fun. By the way, I just want to interrupt this. Okay, and I'm speaking to everyone. The biggest problem with dating today, it's centered around entertainment, romance, and physical connection. It's all about fun. We had so much fun. But the real test of a relationship, the real roots of a relationship is your capacity. Well, first off, when you share the same values, when you have lifestyles that are blendable, when you have emotional maturity, that's kind of like legs to a table, when you have that space. But the fact is you too, and I'm getting the sense he was the one who faded because he was antagonistic toward you, excuse me. But do you really want to be with someone who's going to request for you to submit, to be superior to you, I mean, that's the way you're describing it, the way I'm hearing it, but you're using the term misogynistic. Why would you want to even be in a relationship with someone like that?
Well, I don't. Okay. But I guess my
question needs to be with somebody who shares his values. That would be his ideal partner. It sounds like you don't share his values. He's entitled to his values. You're entitled to your values. But I would honestly ask yourself, why am I attracted to someone who doesn't share my values?
Well, yes. I guess
this person says, what happened to understand someone before throwing it away? I mean, it sounds like he wasn't willing to work on the relationship together. He wasn't willing to work on the relationship. He's like, well, it sounds like we're done. So that's a person who's basically, if you're not like me, I don't want to be with you. I don't want to work on building a relationship with you. I just want someone who's going to follow me and my lifestyle. That's the way it sounds like. I'm not there, so I don't know. Monique wants to point out he's not your lobster. If you ever saw the Friends episode, you might remember
I know Friends.
About lobster. So again, when you're having a good time, when you're focused on entertainment, romance, and physical connection, the real value of a relationship are two people that share the same values, two people that have lifestyles that are compatible with one another, and most importantly, that they have the emotional maturity. It doesn't sound like, and the relationship skills, and one of the most important relationship skills is the capacity to resolve conflict. It sounded like he's operating from a place of I'm right and you're wrong. And he was trying to convince you that you should think the way I do, instead of going, wait a minute, we see things differently. Let's have a conversation in the middle versus I'm this way. And I don't know, maybe you were very staunch in your point of view and the two of you weren't coming to the middle. That's what it sounds like to me, but maybe you can clarify that for all of us. Sherry wants to point out Kristen, he has mommy issues and deep anger. Run.
No, that's exactly right. He does have mommy issues. It's all back to.
How old is he?
He's about to turn 50. So when he was a boy, he walked in the kitchen. There was another man there, and he believes that man fathered his younger brother. And the dad had this whole breakdown a few years ago about this affair. He's got mommy issues. So,
but it sounds like it sounds like he has trauma centered around his mother, talk about a very traumatic belief system that he has. Is he even aware of whether or not his brother is biologically from his father? I mean, is he aware? Is that the case?
He's told me they don't know because nobody talks about it. So
okay.
The only reason why
another problem is they don't talk about it. So it's all repressed belief system, a belief within himself that probably has created, again, he has a narrative inside of himself based on this one of many belief systems, and that must be very hard for him. I'm not absolving him of what happened between the two of you, but I can only imagine how hard that is for him. So, all right, do you want some closure? Like, what are you hoping to, like you said, I want to know why men do this, but we've established you really want to know. I think, what do you most want right now for yourself?
I want to know if men can, this man, not men, because I'm not angry with all
By the way,
men.
there are a lot of good men out there that know how to have grown-up conversations, that share your political views. So let's not make this all men. So this man, what are you hoping for from this man?
I guess that he can heal this anger towards women and stop making me out punishing me in a sense.
So, okay, if he never does that, what do you need?
To just, I mean, I'm accepting that we're misaligned and just move on.
Yeah. I mean, is that it? You can just simply say that and you're moved on? I mean, I don't get this. The fact, by the way, I'm only asking that because your actions tell me otherwise. I get the sense that he has your power is the way I'm sensing this. In other words, he has your power, and I'm inviting you to get your own power back, because ultimately your growth is going to come from, okay, he was part of your experience. The question I invite you is, how are you going to gain your power back? How are you going to gain your sovereignty in this, where you're at in your life right now? How are you going to go about doing that?
I mean, my boundary was, I'm not going to see him anymore. You know, it's over.
Well, that's a good boundary. That's an excellent boundary to have. But how are you going to heal from this? Can you forgive this experience? Can you forgive him? Can you forgive yourself?
Yeah. I mean, it would be nice to talk to him, I guess, and just bygones. You know, I mean, I love this guy, except for the fact that, like, he's so hurt that that's what I feel. Some of the differences to me aren't that big of a deal, but like this hurt and everything, it's just, I'm so sad that it's those issues that have ruined what we had. It's just so unfortunate.
But you're using the word issues, and I'm trying to invite you to, this is his values. This isn't an issue. This isn't, you left
really?
This isn't the difference between forks down and forks up in the dishwasher, okay? Or you didn't clean the kitchen properly. That's an issue. You're talking about a value. This is like gigantic. Someone's value. Okay. This isn't an issue. So you're looking at it like, well, why can't you just think the way I think? Well, do you see that? You're like saying, why can't you think the way I think? Well, that's being narcissistic.
Somebody who's not angry.
Well, no, that's different. Okay. Now I recognize that he has, I think politics has fueled people in unhealthy ways. Okay. But when you say, I need, not that you said this, but if you're saying, I need you to think like me, well, he's entitled to the way he is. He's entitled to his values, you know? So Christina wants to know, how are you going to learn, improve yourself, and change from this? He is not hurt. He has more traditional beliefs. He's operating the way he's operating. What matters most is you. What matters most is, how are you going to operate moving forward? And I embrace you to do a forgiveness exercise. I know the hard part is because you're still in the midst of it. But let me just tell you, when a relationship ends, it's like when my son passed away, there's a picture of him. You know, as much as I wanted him to be back, I wanted my son to be alive, right? I wanted my son to be alive. As I could wish that till I was blue in my face, but that was not going to happen. When a relationship ends, you can wish all you want, but we're oftentimes in denial and we're also bargaining for the relationship to come back, but it wasn't a healthy relationship. But you almost have to treat it like a death, because then you can start moving through the grieving process, and you can get to a place of we start with shock, we go to denial, we go to bargaining, we go to anger. And it's okay to get angry and say, you know what, I'm angry over this situation. And then when we start moving up the ladder of and grief is all over the map, but ultimately moving to a place of acceptance. Because if you're constantly going back and saying, I want you to be different, and you're going to play that story in your head, you could play that story in your head for years. And that doesn't help you come to a place of closure, come to a place of grieving or healing. So I invite you to ask yourself, what positive things about yourself did you learn in this experience? Look at this as a growth experience for you. What positive things about yourself? You set a boundary. That's a good thing. You know, own that. You can also look at, how have I healed from my childhood through this experience? And then I would invite you to look at what was good about the relationship, and most importantly, what are you most grateful for? And when you can get to that place of healing, which I'll be candid with you, I see you're stuck in this, okay? And he's not going to change, okay? He is who he is. I know you see it as an issue, but he has a different value. If you can accept that, you know what, his values and my values were different, it's okay that we move on. Then you can set yourself up for a new relationship, because until you do that, you're going to be revisiting this relationship over and over and over again. And I'm inviting you to do the work to heal, which is recognizing that this relationship wasn't meant to go the distance. It was a learning lesson for you. And I'm inviting, and be grateful for that empowerment that you set a boundary, and recognize that it's okay that you had different values. It's okay you're two different people. But I would suspect you're unhealthy, you're attached to him in an unhealthy way, and it's time to heal from that unhealthy attachment. I highly recommend reading the book Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, because this might make a big difference in your life. Is that helpful?
Yeah, no, you're spot on. The grieving process, you know, I know I'm there. I know that I'm going through it. And
well, you're in it. You're in it. You know,
I'm grieving
in it for a while. But just recognize that it's okay. I'm just here to say, it's okay that he has his values, just like it's okay you have your values. The two of you were just misaligned with one another, and that's okay.
Okay.
All right. Can I give you a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug?
Thanks.
All right. Thanks for being on. We appreciate you.
No worries.
Thanks. Bye. Bye now. You know, Christine was very brave to be on. You know, sometimes when we are in relationship with excuse me, that was what was stuck in my teeth the whole time. Sometimes we're in relationship with someone that's misaligned with us. You know, in her particular case, she saw them as issues. I see this as a value difference. And it's okay when we can come to acceptance that it's okay that someone have their values and we have our values. And it doesn't mean you have to be perfectly aligned with one another, but it sounded like he was rigid in his value system, which is misaligned with hers. He was trying to convert her, it sounds like, and she didn't want to be converted. I believe that's why she probably thought it was misogynistic. But it's okay to have different values, but you have to do is to work on the relationship. And it sounds like they didn't build the deep roots of trust early on, because they were focused on the entertainment, romance, and physical part of it, versus building those deep roots of trust with one another, because it is through trust that your relationship can actually flourish in the long term. And it sounded like as soon as there was a bump in the road, he was ready to abandon it. And she set a boundary, which was healthy for her. And we got to give her props. So Christina, thanks so much for sharing. I really appreciate it. Hey, did you find value in this conversation? I'd like to hear your thoughts. Post a comment below. I do my best to read them all in the first 24 hours. As always, if you find value in my videos, please hit that like button. Please share this video. Please subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you can be notified of new videos. And if you want to connect with me directly, there's links below to schedule a discovery call with me to see if working with a coach is right for you. There's a link to join my group called Midlife Love Mastery. There's a link to follow me on Instagram, social media, get my dating vows, and get all the books I recommend listed below. Christine says it's an interesting that the solution is immediately to break up rather than soften up and find ways to compromise. Sadly, this is what happens when we enter into a relationship that isn't built on a foundation of trust. And that's what I'm here to invite everyone. All right, I'm going to wrap up this video as I always do. First off, give myself a big, gigantic Jonathan Bear hug of self-love. I'm going to reach into the camera and give you a hug of love if that's okay. I'm going to ask you to turn to someone, pet a teddy bear, a pillow, and give it or them a hug of love, because hugs are a great source of love. And let's face it, we could all use more love in our lives. I want to thank Holly and Christina, and certainly I want to thank Kristen. And I want to thank all those that donated, Catherine, Debbie, Han, everyone who donated. I want to thank GM and Holly and RN Lynn and Escala and Stephanie and RM Bells and Joe Daisy's in the house, and Debbie, of course, for her love, and Tasha, and everyone. Thanks so much. Wishing you all a super duper wonderful day. Be well. Thanks. Bye-bye now. Bye. Bye.